What's going on, guys? I'm Mac, and welcome back to another 10-minute video. And in today's video, we're actually talking about something that I think I'm pretty knowledgeable in and relatively passionate about, and that is VTubing. I've actually been wanting to talk about this topic for a while, but before we actually get into that, I do want to please ask you to subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of January or the end of this month, and I would really like to get there. So if you haven't already, please subscribe, and I would really appreciate that. So jumping into this, if you don't know what a VTuber is, first of all, I don't know how you got here, but please listen up. A VTuber is someone who uses a 2D, 2D Live, or a 3D character to represent themselves as a creator, a content creator, live streamer, YouTuber, Twitch, Facebook Live, if you think so. But generally, they use a model to represent themselves as a creator. Now, why would you do this? Why would you use an anime girl? Why would you use a lamp? And yes, there is a lamp VTuber. I've heard of him before. Why would you want to do that instead of, I don't know, turning on a camera and talking for 10 minutes? That doesn't seem that hard. Well, as someone who does do that, that is kind of hard. And secondly, they do have their reasons. Now, for instance, one of the biggest VTubers currently on the market is Iron Mouse. She has an immune deficiency disorder, and is her primary reason why she doesn't represent herself as her actual name. She instead represents herself as Iron Mouse, a spicy Latina VTuber who is very funny, and currently, I think the highest sub VTuber and one of the highest sub Twitch streamers of all time. And in other ways, people just like to keep themselves anonymous. The aspect of having your privacy kind of taken away if you become a public figure in the content creator space can seem a little daunting, as most people aren't used to that lifestyle. Most people aren't used to being like, hey, here's my entire life on this YouTube channel. Here, take it. Also, you could like dox me or find out where I live. Like, that is a lot of pressure to put under your name and under your social security card. So being able to push that on to a VTuber model instead and be able to stay anonymous is a pretty big get for a lot of people. Also, on top of that, it's a persona for a lot of people. It's somebody who represents them without having to represent themselves as them. I think the best way to explain it is talking about furries. Furries make their own fursona. By creating a fursona, you basically create a individual or a furry to represent yourself and either in a better light or somebody who you want to be. Somebody who you don't believe you can be as your normal human self and would rather represent that as a dog for the furry's instance or as an anime girl in the VTuber's instance. So now that we've kind of covered the general VTuber stuff, I do also want to mention agencies as well. Agencies are kind of a section of the Japanese culture of VTubers that have been brought over to the Western world. VTubers are primarily an anime, Japan type oriented space, and in particular, agencies are a part of that, whether it be Hololive, Nijisanji, VShojo. These companies allow individuals to coordinate their work, so either having a manager or an agent, it's in the same space, with other VTubers and creating a safe space to be able to collab with other people of like-minded VTuberness. So that's generally what agencies are, and in particular, I'm a huge fan of Hololive, and that's kind of what got me into looking at VTubers and enjoying their content. In particular, I've always been a big fan of Hololive English Branch 1, and there is like Branch 1, there's Branch 2, 3, 4. Over time, they've branched out into other divisions, and particularly they started in Japan, went over to the English Western side, and when they first started, which I think was 2022 is when I got into them, it might be 2023, it was Gura, this little shark VTuber with a high-pitched voice, and you would think, oh, you're just wanting it because it's a little anime girl. I think what I find interesting about this is VTubers bring the Japanese idol space into the modern YouTube space. And what I mean by that, the idol space is very different compared to your regular, maybe Taylor Swift fan or your Justin Bieber fan, any sort of more English-based singer and stuff like that, their fans act differently. They respect their idols differently. Whether you might see it as an obsession, or you might see it as somebody who is dedicated to representing this person as both a part of them and being able to show off this person and their content. I think it's very interesting that VTubers have been able to bring that culture over to the West in such a good way in most scenarios. Seeing a lot of art and representation, and being able to have VTubers be able to represent themselves through both their fans and their own art is very interesting. It was something that really was only connected to maybe like old school YouTubers like in the Littlewood and like the Yogscast with like fan art and people coming to see them and stuff like that. And it eventually kind of spread over to the animation space in the Western world, like Jaden Animations and Odd Ones Out when it came to fan art. But VTubers really brought that space back into existence post the HoloLive English boom. In my opinion, that was probably one of the biggest pushes for VTubers to be in the Western space. Now, not all VTubers are strictly dependent on their agencies. There's been plenty of VTubers that have exploded outside their agencies, either after arriving to an agency and leaving, or even never joining an agency. And speaking about leaving, I do also want to mention graduations as well. Graduations are basically the official announcement of a VTuber ending their career as that particular persona, either permanently or temporarily, when it comes to either them stopping that persona and starting a new one with a new agency, or starting on their own. There's been plenty of VTubers that have left agencies like Niji Sanji and HoloLive to go on and be themselves, either post or now prior to graduation. And some of those VTubers I have found a new love for post them graduating. I know Dokibird, for instance, was Selene for Niji Sanji. There was a lot of controversy and stuff like that with her leaving, mostly due to how horrible the terms were that she left on, due to Niji Sanji, not because of her. And now seeing her explode as Dokibird and really be able to live her full self has been really interesting. But there's also tons of VTubers that I watch have never even been a part of an agency before. One of my favorite VTubers who has actually been retired for a little bit, but is now going to come back, and I'll actually leave her YouTube down in the description below, is Really Red. I loved her to death when I first started watching, and she was definitely one of those creators who I stuck onto for a while, and definitely found a kind of just comfort in being able to go and watch her live streams and being able to, like, man, this is just a fun person to interact with, both in chat and then also just be able to watch on my pastime and stuff like that. It was definitely a really interesting experience jumping in with somebody who is not even a part of an agency. And then recently, also on top of that, Vela is live, who is a TikTok VTuber. Yes, TikTok VTubers exist up until TikTok being banned in like a week or so, which kind of sucks, but it's whatever. And so, yes, TikTok VTubers do exist, and that's Vela's live, which actually, it's really cool because not all VTubers are built the same, and in particular with her, she's actually made her own model. Yes, if you're an artist, you can actually make and rig your own VTuber model, whether you're just a little 2D VTuber who doesn't move at all other than just the mouth, or a full 2D live VTuber who moves around, has like cat ears that move around, stuff like that. Being an artist doubles as also being a VTuber in some of these spaces, and it's really cool seeing artists jump in, not on this VTuber trend, but on this VTuber train, in my opinion. But generally, I think that's basically everything I wanted to talk about when it comes to VTubers. I do have a fond respect for the content they're able to put out, even with being so limited in scope. Having or not having the ability to show your face and keeping the illusion of you are X so-and-so, and keeping that mirage up for as long as you can, whether you can or not, I think is really admirable, but also really creative to be able to find content that isn't just you talking to the camera for 10 minutes and staring at the camera, being able to actually create content without using you as an individual, but you as a character. I think that's really neat. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you want to hear more just about VTuber stuff, I actually do plan on making a larger, more filled out video, so if you're interested in that, leave some comments down below, and I'll be sure to read them and respond. Also, I got the victory royale. I was actually destroying there. I think I got like 18 kills this game. Let me see. Can you show the stats? Yeah, 18 kills. All right. I'll see you guys next time. Woo.